Hello dear students, welcome to your online class with me. Here I am Khalida Yasmin Sweety, lecturer, Department of English, Dhaka Mahanagar Mohila College, going to start a new session with you all. This session is all about the poem Mending Wall, written by the famous American poet Robert Frost. Let me inform you about the learning outcome of today's class. The objectives of today's class are to make you familiar about the text, background, and the theme of the poem Mending Wall. So, no more wasting of time, let's start our class. Here is the complete text of the poem Mending Wall, and we'll start our discussion with the recitation of the poem. Something there is that doesn't love a wall, that sends the frozen ground swallow under it, and spills the upper boulders in the sun, and makes gaps even two can pass abreast. The work of hunters is another thing. I have come after them and made repair, where they have left not one stone on a stone, but they would have the rabbit out of hiding to please the yelping dogs. The gaps I mean, no one has seen them made or heard them made, but at spring mending time we find them there. I let my neighbor know beyond the hill, and on a day we meet to walk the line and set the wall between us once again. We kept the wall between us as we go, to each the boulders that have fallen to each, and some other lobes and some so nearly bowls. We have to use a spell to make them balance. Stay fair, you are until our backs are turned. We wear our finger rough with handling them. Oh, just another kind of outdoor game, one on a side. It comes to little more. There where is it we do not need the wall. He is all pine, and I am apple orchard. My apple trees will never get across and eat the cones under his spines. I tell him. He only says, good fences make good neighbors. Spring is the mischief in me, and I wonder if I could put a notion in his head. Why do you make good neighbors? Isn't it where there are cows? But here there are no cows. But before I built a wall, I had asked to know what I was walling in or walling out, and to whom I was like to give offense. Something there is that doesn't love a wall, that wants it down. I could say elves to him, but it's not elves exactly, and I had rather he said it for himself. I see him there, bringing a stone grasped firmly by the top, in each hand, like an old stone surveys armed. He moves in darkness, as it seems to me, not of woods only and the shades of trees. He will not go behind his father's saying, and he likes having thought of it so well. He says again, good fences make good neighbors. My dear students, for your better understanding, I have recited the whole poem. Now we'll talk about the background of the poem. This poem is the first work in Frost's second book of poetry, North of Boston, which was published upon his return from England in 1915. While living in England with his family, Frost was exceptionally homesick for the farm in New Hampshire, where he had lived with his wife from 1900 to 1909. Despite the eventual failure of the farm, Frost associated his time in New Hampshire with a peaceful rural sensibility that he instilled in the majority of his subsequent poems. Mending Wall is autobiographical on an even more specific level. A French Canadian named Napoleon Guay had been Frost's neighbor in New Hampshire, and the two had often walked along their property line and repaired the wall that separated their land. Ironically, the most famous line of the poem, "Good fences make good neighbors," was not invented by Frost himself, but was rather a phrase that Guay frequently declared to Frost during their walks. This particular adage was a popular colonial proverb in the middle of the 17th century, but variations of it also appeared in Norway. To them, there must be a fence between good neighbors. To Germany, between neighbors' gardens a fence is good. To Japan, build a fence even between imitate friends. And even India, love your neighbor, but do not throw down the dividing wall. Now, we'll discuss briefly about the theme of the poem. That is, every year, two neighbors, one is young and another is old, meet to repair the stone wall that divides their property. The narrator is skeptical of these traditions, unable to understand the need for a wall when there is no livestock to be contained on the property, only apples and pine trees. He doesn't believe that a wall should exist simply for the sake of existing. Moreover, he cannot help but notice that the natural world seems to dislike the wall as much as he does. Mysterious gaps appear, boulders fall for no reason. The neighbor, on the other hand, asserts that the wall is crucial to maintaining their relationship, asserting good fences make good neighbors. Over the course of the mending, the narrator attempts to convince his neighbor otherwise and accuses him of being old-fashioned for maintaining the tradition so strictly. No matter what the narrator says, though the neighbor stands his ground, repeating only, "Good fences make good neighbors." The poem Mending Wall is composed in blank verse and comprises of balanced iambic stresses. It is in first person narrative and cast in a continuous fashion rather than being divided into stanzas to enhance the informal conversational tone. My dear students, in our next class, we'll discuss the whole poem line by line. So that's all for today. I hope you have enjoyed my class. Inshallah, I will come back with the next part of this class in the next week. Till then, take care of your mental and physical health. Goodbye.